November 3rd, 2019. A quiet Sunday morning in Monterey County, California would start with a manhunt of a pair of alleged murderers that had escaped from the county jail. Letting the pair escape would leave a blemish on the Monterey County Sheriff's Department. It would not end with these two, as another accused murderer would also escape. What led to this? What did they do to end up in jail? Did they get caught? These are all questions that we will answer. Let's get into it. Monterey County is located on the central coast of California. The county is approximately 3,350 square miles with a population of 439,035. The Big Beautiful Big Sur region is located partly in Monterey County. It has also been called the longest and most scenic stretch of undeveloped coastline in the contiguous United States. With cities such as Seaside, Monterey, and Soledad, we will be looking at the largest and county seat, Salinas. Tourism and agriculture are major drivers of the economy here. Although this occurred at the new jail, Monterey County has an historic county jail that is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It was built in 1931. American labor leader and civil rights activist Cesar Chavez was housed at the jail at one point. The newer facility is a little further from the center of the city, next to the juvenile hall and the probation department in a government center campus. Now that we have our setting for our escape, let's talk about the two ingenious inmates that made their unauthorized exit from Monterey County. These men weren't in jail for petty crimes. Santos Samuel Fonseca was being housed at the Monterey County Jail on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Fonseca, an alleged member of the Northside Baranda gang, a subset of the Norteños gang, was ordered by the leader of the gang to prove his loyalty. He and his girlfriend would allegedly shoot a random man sitting in his vehicle, killing him. Ordered again to prove his loyalty, Fonseca chose the ex-boyfriend of his girlfriend. He would also end up dead, with Fonseca also charged in his death. The other man, Jonathan Salazar, was arrested with a 15-year-old for allegedly shooting a man while he was driving with a woman and his child in the car. There was limited information as to the motive behind the killing, but police believe it was gang-related. Before we find out how they escaped, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. The escape occurred through a hole in the unit bathroom between 6:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. They were able to cut a 22-inch opening and climb through. This opening was in a blind spot and could not be seen unless staff entered the room. Once through the hole, they navigated their way to a hatch that led to the outside. One of them kicked the hatch with such force that it sprang open the door and they exited the building. A large footprint could be seen on the hatch. But just because you're out of the building doesn't mean you're free. A jail should have fencing and outside surveillance. Well, due to construction in that area, there was no security fencing. They would flee the area and a search would begin. The pair would go on the run together, unlike other escapes where they often separate to make the search more difficult. Even more strange, the pair were in rival gangs. A $5,000 reward was offered for information leading to their capture. The sheriff would say, "Our focus and resources are dedicated to locating and returning Fonseca and Salazar to custody." Police received a call from a man in the community that the pair were staying at a Motel 6, but when authorities arrived, they had left the area. While on the run, another tip was received that they were possibly in Mexico. If this were the case, then the sheriff would have lost his opportunity to return them to custody. This would be until November 6, 2019. The sheriff would announce, "The news is they've both been found and both arrested." He would go on to say that the pair would be caught trying to re-enter the country at a Tijuana checkpoint. Why would they attempt to re-enter the country knowing that they were wanted fugitives is a little bit of a mystery. They would be transported back to the Monterey County Jail, where they would remain while their ongoing murder cases were going through the court process. After being caught, Salazar's mother said, "Nobody's perfect in their life, you know. When they're young, they make wrong choices. And this is what I'm going through now. I just want to let everybody know that if my son did it, I'm sorry. I can't change when people make decisions." After the escape, the Monterey County Sheriff made 3 improvements, but would not go into specifics as to what was changed for security reasons. Although they would say changes were made, it was not enough, and another accused of murder escaped from the jail on November 19, 2021. Luis Armando Sarabia jumped 2 walls and escaped an outdoor exercise yard. Sarabia would turn himself into the sheriff's department the next day. He was suspected in a murder in Greenfield, California. He was also being housed in the Serrano gang unit, according to the sheriff's office. Following this debacle, Monterey County Supervisor Luis Alejo told the media that this latest inmate escape has really shown that we need a thorough review of our safety protocols and plans of our county jail. We also need to implement an alert system to give notice to Salinas residents where there is an escapee on the loose. These are problems where there is technology readily available to address them. It is unclear what changes have been made since these incidents. Fonseca would later go on to be convicted and sentenced to 152 years in prison. According to California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, he is being housed at California Correctional Institution with a parole eligibility date of October 2058. There was limited information on the conviction and sentence for Jonathan Salazar. He is also showing incarcerated at California Correctional Institution. Salazar has a parole eligibility date of August 2030. It appears likely that he will be returning to the Monterey County community, but Fonseca does not appear so lucky. It's not often that you hear of multiple murderers escaping from custody, especially 2 instances. Hopefully, Monterey County Sheriff's Office has made the appropriate changes to stop any further breaches of public safety. Time will only tell. Be sure to check out my other videos on prison escapes by clicking the playlist here. As always, see you next time.